Hey, I have a question for you. So, does your job require that you do continuing education? Maybe you're a teacher, maybe, well, I don't know where you work, but maybe they require that you continue to study and do continuing education programs. It's so funny because today I was studying in Colossians 3 1 through 17, kind of doing a deep dive there. And when I got to verse 10, I was reading in my Bible, and this is my favorite Bible. I have to show it to you. This is Life Application Study Bible, New Living Translation, third edition notes, because the commentary is so good. I'll link the Bible in my notes below so you can find it because it's my favorite. It's my favorite. Anyway, it says in here that, okay, in our lifelong growing process, Christians have a continuing education program. Don't you love that? We are to be continuing to grow and grow. So we should be making sure that we're participating in a continuing education program. Like if your job requires it, you're intentional to make sure you fulfill that requirement, right? And so we as believers should be intentional to fulfill the requirement to continue to grow. Because the more we know of Christ and his work, the more he changes us to be like him. We cannot just drift along. Oh, how many of you sometimes you just start drifting, right? Maybe you drift away. Maybe you drift on down the road. Maybe you're just drifting away from the morning routine and spending time in the world, in the Word. You know, sometimes you just drift, right? It's kind of like being in the ocean and you get in the water right in front of your hotel and you're talking to your friends and you turn around and your hotel is 500 yards that way. And you're like, how did this happen? Well, sometimes we drift, right? If we're not in a continuing education program, if we're not being intentional to show up, to study, and to grow. So instead, we are to seek the rich treasures of growing in Him. We need patience, practice, concentration, and ongoing review to keep in line with His will. So that means we have to constantly be doing a little introspection and asking ourselves, am I growing? Where am I today based on this time last year? Where am I today based on, 3 months ago? Am I coming to know Jesus more? Am I growing in my relationship with Him? Man, that's so good. You've got to be in a continuing education program. So what are you doing to grow? Are you studying the Bible? And are you getting to know Him more? Or are you just going, check, I did my quiet time today, but man, 5 minutes later, you have no idea what it was even about? Or are you plugging in and being intentional to grow? I have a course called the Call to Lead course, and so many of the women who are in that program are really showing up because they want to identify what's holding them back and maybe some things they had blind spots about and they didn't even realize it. And so they've decided to partake of a course. You are reading Christian books. Like I'm a leadership coach and I love books about leadership. And so I'm constantly reading books that were written by Christians who are talking about leadership and how God wants us to be intentional to lead and to influence every life that we're around, everybody that we touch, and that we really can see every opportunity or every obstacle as an opportunity to point other people to Jesus. So how about this? From this point forward, what will your continuing education program be? How are you going to grow? How are you going to get to know Jesus more? How are you going to walk with Him and talk with Him and surrender just a little bit more of you to Him every single day? How are you going to become intentional to show up and let Him use your life as a living testimony for His goodness and His mercy and His grace? Are you pointing people to Him over and over again? Whether you're at work, whether you're grocery shopping and out and about running errands, or maybe you're in your home. And sometimes when I'm in my home, I might be the most lax and the most just not even focus on serving the people around me. I do serve them. We have Sunday night dinner every Sunday night. But am I always as intentional as I should be to tell the people I love the most about what God is doing in my life right now, about how I experienced Him this week? Am I telling the people that I love the most? You know, I need to be really intentional about that, and I want to encourage you to be as well.